Hi, my name is Shabir Madhi. I'm the Dean of the Faculty of Health Sciences at the University of Witwatersrand, and I'm Professor of Vaccinology at the University of Witwatersrand. So many people ask, what is a vaccinologist? In fact, when they gave me the title of Professor of Vaccinology at the university, most of the academics were actually confused because, as it happened, I was probably the first individual on the African continent to assume this title of Professor of Vaccinology. Now, when we talk of vaccinology, it's a very broad field and it means different things to different people. But vaccinology really spans across from the discovery of vaccines, the development of vaccines, right through to what we refer to as implementation of vaccine programs. And that is when we ensure that the vaccines that we have actually get into the arms of people or into the arms of children. My particular expertise is more in the field of epidemiology of vaccine-preventable diseases. And what we mean by that is that we actually study the number of individuals that actually become infected with different vaccine-preventable bugs, as well as the number of people that end up dying from that. And that helps us to understand how important these vaccines are in South Africa as well as in other African countries, and that is where most of our work is focused. But in addition to that, another big focus of myself and my research unit is looking at the clinical development of vaccines. So this is where vaccines have now been developed, but we now need to show two things. We need to show that these vaccines are safe, foremost, and that these vaccines are actually doing what we're hoping that they actually meant to do, and that is to protect people from becoming ill with these different vaccine-preventable bugs. In my job, obviously, the work I do is done as part of a collective team. In fact, my own research unit has got up to 500 people. What we also require are people that can actually investigate for different bacteria and different viruses. For that, we usually have scientists, people that have done a Bachelor of Science in Virology or Bachelor of Science in Microbiology, and they would be the scientists in the laboratory at my research unit, where they would then get samples from the field and they would be testing those samples. They can identify different viruses that we might be interested in, or they might be testing the samples to identify different bacteria that we might be interested in. Then when we go beyond that, what we're also looking at is, like I mentioned, we go into what we refer to as epidemiology of vaccine-preventable diseases. Now for that, you need people that have got a background in statistics. There's a specialized field known as biostatistics, which are people that are more focused on doing statistics in the field of medicine. Now, when we go beyond that, we basically talk of the clinical development of these vaccines. And now we need to see whether they're actually working in humans, whether they're safe in humans, and whether they're actually protecting humans. And usually that requires a different set of expertise. The expertise that's usually involved in those sort of studies are people that have done nursing, so they form an important part of the team. And then we've also got a medical doctors that form an important component of that. They assist us in terms of identifying potential participants as well as in doing basic examination and follow-up of those participants. So I grew up in a township known as Lenasia, which was previously designated for people of Indian descent. And certainly by the time I was completing school, I wasn't too clear as to what I wanted to do, but I was still gravitating towards doing chemical engineering. So when I applied to university, I applied for medicine, I applied for engineering. The bursary wasn't available for people doing engineering. So that's how I ended up doing medicine. And even when I completed medicine, I was still not too clear whether I was really interested in that as a career. When I completed my medical degree as an undergraduate, then what you need to do is an internship. And that is probably the first time that you really get an idea as to what medicine is about, and perhaps what your actual interest is within the broad field of medicine. The part of the internship that I really enjoyed was working with children. And that is what we refer to as pediatrics. So pediatrics is a discipline that basically focuses on the health of children. So what do you need to do? You need to follow your passion, but again, you need to be responsible. You need to first make sure that you sort of move through each of the steps that's required to get to the next step. So you need to get that balance in terms of your social activities, in terms of your sporting activities, and in terms of your academic activities. But it also boils, it's just one word I need to describe it. It's all about self-discipline. And self-discipline is what basically is going to assist you in attaining your goals.